Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on Our News, the health minister maintains there's no plan to extend the state of emergency. 5 airlines receive COVID citations, plus police probing 5 murders in 4 days. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, 1 month before the state of emergency is set to expire, Minister of Health Renward Wells says there have been no discussions about extending it beyond August 13th. This as the Minister administration is in talks with COVAX for nearly 60,000 doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Jasmine Brown reports.
Speaking to reporters outside Cabinet, the health minister says for now there are no plans to have the House of Assembly meet before September. And that means that for now there are no plans to extend the state of emergency.
The state of emergency ends on August 13th. If there's going to be any change to that, obviously the competent authority, the Cabinet of the Bahamas, would have to come back to the Bahamian people to say so. Right now there's no discussions about changing the fact that the emergency order ends on August 13th.
Wells says if anything changes, the government will come to the Bahamian people in the shortest possible time.
In order to be able to do that, I do believe under the law you would still have to go to the House of Assembly, and the House of Assembly doesn't meet until the 22nd of September. We would have to call an emergency session. The Governor General would have to call the House of Assembly back into session to be able to do that. But as it stands now, we're moving forward as we would have intimated in the past, which is the emergency orders ends on the 13th of August.
Government officials have repeatedly said the Bahamas' economic recovery is dependent on the willingness of Bahamians to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Wells says it is promising that more than 60,000 people have received at least 1 dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The third tranche of vaccines through the COVAX facility is expected to arrive later this month following weeks of delays. Wells said the government is also hoping to receive a tranche of Pfizer vaccines.
We have been offered some 57,330 doses of Pfizer through the COVAX facility. We will have a more definitive date when that vaccine will arrive, when Pfizer will arrive in country by Friday of this week.
The health minister was asked if the administration was considering vaccinating children as young as 12 years old.
Our kids are going back to school in September, and so obviously we need to be able to take that into consideration. And so that is one of the reasons why we sought to source Pfizer, because Pfizer is the only EUL approved vaccine for individuals under the age of 18.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
A man was murdered last night, capping off a holiday weekend of bloodshed that left 5 people dead in 4 days. Authorities say 2 incidents are connected. However, the National Security Minister insists that Bahamians have nothing to fear. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
We still have work to do.
5 murders in 4 days. It's the stark reality of a bloody Independence holiday weekend that saw 1 man killed Thursday night, 2 killed Saturday, and another shot multiple times Sunday night at Ararat Key. The latest murder was reported on Monday evening. And despite concerns over gang war and retaliation, Dame says there's no need for people to move around in fear.
Why one should be afraid? I mean, you have violence in communities, right? I'm not saying that incidents won't happen. We have issues within our households. Should people be afraid to sleep in their own homes?
Dame says police have been doing a good job with crime numbers trending downward. He also pointed to the quick rate of capturing suspects in certain incidents, like Sunday's Ararat Key murder.
That incident, the young man was taken into custody and a weapon was seized. Unfortunately, someone lost their life prior to it, but it also speaks to the work that our law enforcement officers are doing.
Which brings us to Monday evening, the 5th murder in a 4-day period. According to police press liaison Assistant Superintendent Audley Peters, the victim was one of several people sitting at a car wash when a small dark vehicle pulled up.
A lone male exited that vehicle armed with a firearm and discharged a number of shots in the directions of the individuals, fatally wounding the victim.
Now, Peters was also asked about how useful these CCTV cameras here are. He said, first, it depends on if they're even working.
It's common knowledge that some of them are not operable due to whatever incidents with outage and so forth that power may go down. And so if they're operable, we can look forward to getting information from them.
According to Police Commissioner Paul Roll, 2 of the 5 murders are connected. Monday's incident was murder 65 for the year. For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Meanwhile, authorities issuing $15,000 worth of fines to 5 airlines and nearly $30,000 in fines to residents for COVID-19 infractions over the holiday weekend. Jillian Gray reports.
5 major commercial airlines experiencing some turbulence over the weekend after they were slammed with fines for allowing passengers to board flights without a health travel visa. Those fines flew up to $7,000.
Over this holiday weekend, we would have cited some 5 airlines for allowing persons to enter the country without the requirement health visa. So the fine for each airline would be $2,000 plus $300 for the passenger who came on their airline.
Over the last month, authorities have issued 15 citations to airlines, according to Chief Superintendent Zhivargo Dames, and said 15 passengers were fined $300 each.
Anyone who is traveling on your airline, they must meet the requirements as laid out by the competent authority. And so no one is allowed to travel into our country without the required documents. They are to have either, if you are fully vaccinated, to upload that fully vaccinated card to the travel health visa. And if they don't have that, it must be a PCR test.
Officers patrolled beaches and large gatherings over the long weekend, dishing out nearly $30,000 in fines to residents.
We would have actually cited some 29 persons with citations. That would have ranged in the amount of $29,000 plus in citations. The citations range from social gathering, operating a prohibited business.
Dame says he is encouraged by those numbers, as those 29 violations are a decrease from the dozens of citations they issued during previous holiday weekends.
Now, officers said they hope that residents continue to follow health and safety guidelines, as it'll make their job a lot easier and the country a lot safer. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
In other news, amid upheaval, the Bahamian embassy in Haiti has been closed indefinitely, and the 4 Bahamian diplomats stationed there have been flown home, according to Minister of Foreign Affairs Darren Henfield.
I was very pleased last night to receive all 4 of our Bahamian diplomats from Haiti on Bahamian soil. They arrived around 8 p.m. last evening. They're all in good spirits. They're all in good health. Of course, we were working assiduously to get them home since last week, Wednesday.
It follows the assassination of the Haitian president. Henfield says the embassy will reopen when it is safe.
We didn't want it to appear as if we're abandoning them, and this is our challenge. I wanted to reassure them that even though we wanted our people home, the Bahamas and the Bahamian government, as well as CARICOM, we stand in solidarity with them and hope that this issue can come to a judicious end.
Henfield says the government is still working on a plan to bring back 5 Bahamians and other residents who have been stuck in Haiti since the enforcement of a travel ban imposed by the Bahamas government in February.
We have been working on this now since the closure of the borders almost. Haiti presents to us a bit of a challenge in that they had no vaccination program. They went ahead, as you know, and held Carnival, which we saw as an incubator for COVID. But we need to find a way to work through these circumstances.
Well, Bahamas Consul General in Miami, Linda Trico-Mackey, encouraging Bahamians to take advantage of free COVID-19 vaccinations in Florida. Trico-Mackey, who received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, says she knows what it's like to suffer from COVID-19. Vonnie Toot reports.
Amid lingering concerns about the AstraZeneca vaccine and the low supply of doses at home, Bahamas Consul General here in Miami, Linda Trico-Mackey, says at least 100 Bahamians have inquired to her office about getting vaccinated here in Florida. She says the most important thing is just getting vaccinated.
Take advantage of the free vaccination. You can be vaccinated in Publix, you can be vaccinated at Walgreens, CVS, so many locations. So take advantage of the vaccinations that are available, and even at the airport.
As of July 10, nearly 98,000 doses had been administered in the Bahamas. However, there has been a delay in the third tranche of vaccines. It is unclear just how many Bahamians have been vaccinated abroad. But Trico Mackey says government officials can track that information.
It is easy to track because the health visa, you have to upload your vaccination card. And based on the address that is given, you can tell Bahamians who have been vaccinated here versus who are vaccinated at home. So they are tracking.
How many people would you say have reached out to you directly to seek assistance or at least even inquiring?
Just about the vaccination?
Yeah, about getting vaccinated.
Boy, I would say at least 100 people just ask questions. Can we be vaccinated? Because before, I think it was before May 1st, you had to be a resident or show proof of residency. Or because of my diplomacy, I was able to get others vaccinated through that avenue. But now you don't have to show proof of residency.
Mackie Trico says she also took advantage of the opportunity to be vaccinated in the U.S.
Short trip, do the one shot, do the J&J. That's what I did.
Vaccinated or not, the Bahamas Consul General had this warning for Bahamians visiting Florida, where local COVID-19 emergency orders were suspended in May, limiting the government's ability to impose mask requirements and other social distancing measures. During our time here, our news saw many people without face masks in shopping malls, stores, hotels, and restaurants. Trico Mackey admitted it's easy to let your guard down.
It's easy because when you go out and you realize people are not wearing a mask, you're tired of wearing a mask as well. So you can be tempted to take off your mask. I, for one, hate wearing a mask, but I understand why I need to. But now that I'm vaccinated, I have the artificial antibodies and the natural ones because I had COVID, so I'm a COVID survivor. So I feel, in and of myself, I feel like, oh yeah, you're invincible, you're good. So I have kind of like let my guards down as well. So I'm sure that there are many like me who will let their guards down.
Reporting from Miami, Florida for our news, I'm Vonique Tude.
Thanks, Vonique. Here in the capital, we saw breezy conditions. Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with the latest.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome, everybody, for your Tuesday's first look at weather. Very humid conditions on the outside. We have a lot of clouds. We're calling it partly cloudy. Temperatures near the 80-degree mark. Your winds out of the east at 6 knots and your feels-like temperature still in the mid-80s with that high humidity on the outside. Satellite view, that cluster of showers and thunderstorms that encompass most of the Bahamas is now pushed across the northwest Bahamas. Big cluster just at west of Andros. All of that will be moving towards the west and into Florida later on tonight. That's your first look at weather. Stick around. There's more weather still to come.
Still to come on our news, a busy day in court, plus the latest on the search for Drew Rigby. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Five men facing murder charges were arraigned in the magistrate's court today. As Berthany McDermott tells us, 2 of them were hit with multiple charges.
25-year-old Alonzo Cartwright, seen in the black T-shirt, 23-year-old Dondre Williams in the green shirt, 22-year-old Marquine Williams with the locks, and 21-year-old Patrico Ramsey in the white shirt appeared before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on murder charges. They're accused of the October 20th, 2019 death of Anico Strawn. According to police reports, Strawn was shot in Pinewood Gardens around 10 p.m. Cartwright was also charged with the June 28th, 2019 double murder of Ian Porter and Raymond Adderley, who were shot to death near Jupiter Way, and the December 3rd, 2018 killing of George DeVoe and Ashley Hilton, who were leaving the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center in a white vehicle when 2 gunmen opened fire on them. Cartwright was also charged with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. It's alleged that on November 2018 and June 2019, while at New Providence and with a common interest, Cartwright did conspire to commit murder. Meanwhile, Dondre Williams was also charged with the December 3rd, 2020 killing of Alfred Bastian off Camp Road and conspiracy to commit murder. 24-year-old Rashad Stubbs in the green plaid shirt also faces a murder charge. The Morning Street resident is accused of killing Dwayne Cargill. None of the men were required to enter a plea and bail was denied. They were remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
In other news, the National Security Minister defending search efforts by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force for 28-year-old Drew Rigby, who has been missing since Sunday when a jet ski collided with a 26-foot boat near Rose Island. According to reports, the initial search was called off at sunset on Sunday due to low visibility.
Remember now, we're a nation of over 100,000 square miles of sea, with the assistance of some of the greatest powers throughout this world. Sometimes you're searching for persons and vessels, and you don't find them. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to locate them. All right, and so I'll have to look at that.
James was asked about the use of underwater equipment.
They're still in the testing phases, okay? They're still in the training phase, but the submersible is available for use. But where are you gonna put it? Where are you suggesting? I mean, again, this is a nation of over 100,000 square miles of sea. You know, you have to act on the information that you have and work within that framework, okay? I mean, just putting a drone, a submersible out there, you have to know where you're putting it.
Coming up, the Delta variant becoming dominant worldwide, plus good news for Jonquil Jones. Stay with us.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
This is Our News. Welcome back. The Delta variant of COVID-19 may soon become the dominant strain worldwide, as it has been detected in more than 104 countries. Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, says after 10 weeks of declines in COVID-19 deaths around the world, they are increasing once again.
The Delta variant is ripping around the world at a scorching pace, driving a new spike in cases and death. In places with high vaccination coverage, Delta is spreading quickly, especially infecting unprotected and vulnerable people and steadily putting pressure back on health systems.
Last week, Princess Margaret Hospital's administrator confirmed that the public hospital had reached capacity for COVID-19 patients. Meanwhile, 1 year after falling on hard times, the family has once again been evicted. Jared Higgs tells us more.
I can't have my wife and my children on the streets.
46-year-old Marlon McKenzie and his family are struggling to keep a roof over their heads. Last year, Mackenzie's wife, Amika McKenzie, told Our News how the pandemic and her husband's colon cancer diagnosis plunged her family into poverty. They got some help after the story aired, but were evicted again recently when they fell behind on rent.
We don't have no place that we consider ourselves, we are homeless right now. So that's why I asked in the public urgently if they could help me and my family.
Our News spoke to the Mackenzies again outside a small hotel where they're being temporarily housed by the Department of Social Services. They've already overstayed the week given to them, and the couple is under pressure to find another place to live. Last year, donations from strangers allowed them to pay rent months in advance, but now they're back to square one.
This is an urgent need right now.
Mackenzie says he can't work because of an operation on his stomach to remove a tumor. His wife, who has to take care of him, and their 2 sons, including one who is autistic, says she's found the job market difficult.
I put in a lot of applications. People promised me, because they had watched the story, and they had promised me that they was going to call me so I could get something to do, take care of my family. But I never got a call from anyone.
The situation facing the Mackenzies is not totally unique. Even as tourism rebounds, many still struggle to find jobs and keep up with the rent and an economy that is still in recovery mode after the fallout from the pandemic. The Mackenzies feel that asking for help is their best option.
So I'm just asking any persons who could reach out to us to help us with a place to stay or whatever, we will appreciate it.
If you want to help, you can contact the Mackenzies at 815-4271. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Thanks, Jared. Well, Grand Bahama native Jonquil Jones named WNBA Player of the Week. Marcellus Hall has that tonight in sports.
All right, thanks a lot. Welcome to our sports, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, I tell you what, having not missed a beat since her return from helping Bosnia to qualify for the Olympics, Jonquil Jones has returned to the Connecticut Sun and is making her presence felt once again. Latest from her is that she's received yet another accolade. Grand Bahama native Jonquil Jones continues to be recognized for her stellar play. Jones, who plays for the Connecticut Sun, has been named as the Eastern Conference Player of the Week in the WNBA. She averaged 20.5 points, 16.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game during Week 8 of the season to garner the award. Brittany Griner was named Western Conference Player of the Week for the same time frame. Now, Jones will also be a major part of the WNBA's All-Star festivities beginning tomorrow. Jonquil, along with Jewel Lloyd, Allie Quigley, and Sammy Whitcomb, will compete in the three-point shootout. Jones also named to the Eastern Conference All-Star team, and she's currently leading the league in rebounding, second in the league in scoring. All right, so there you have it. I'll check on sports for you here on this Tuesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you.
Thanks, Marcellus. Well, we meet the chef behind Marcus at Bahamas. That's coming up next.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
Welcome back to our news. A short work week ahead, but will it be a rainy one? Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Thanks again, Christina. Welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather. Humid conditions on the outside. Those are showers and thunderstorms spreading across the northwest Bahamas, continuing to pull towards the west and away from us. We should see some improvement as some Saharan dust is now moving into our area, keeping us rather dry for the next couple of days with some spotty showers. Tropics, National Hurricane Center watching an area to the north of the Bahamas for some possibility of some formation over the next 24 to 48 hours, but that system will continue to pull towards the north and away from us. Your boating forecast for all areas tonight through tomorrow. Your winds will be out of the east-northeast to east-southeast at 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be running choppy 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. Tide is presently low, will be high at 11:13 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Sunday. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. A new culinary experience opened this week at Bahamas, exploring flavors of the freshest Bahamian ingredients. Kyle Joaquin got a taste.
Set against the backdrop of spectacular Bahamian sunsets and the ocean, Marcus at Bahamas and Chop House features locally caught seafood, raw and cured, as well as simply cooked premium dry-aged steaks and vegetables sourced from local farmers. A long fan of conch, Chef Marcus, who has restaurants in Canada, New York, and even Sweden, saw it fitting to elevate some of your favorite Bahamian dishes in a distinctive dining experience.
And that's fun as a chef. You want to come to a new place and eat what the locals eat. You want to learn. And it's been fun, and that's where the collaboration starts. I learn from the staff, they learn from me.
The interior design features a selection of artwork curated by the Current Gallery and Art Center.
You can open this up, and we're going to be grilling out here, and you can really showcase, really, Bahamas at its best. Right?
Put your feet in the sun.
And put your feet in the sand, literally doing that. You also get to see the ocean, right? Whether you want to watch the game with your friends, or whether you want to come for an after work, happy hour.
And while we're here, we can't forget the mouth-watering food created by head chef Garrett Bowe.
It's a play on Bahamian conch salad, but we have elevated a bit. We've put in fresh citrus. We have grapefruit, lemon, lime, and orange supremes in it.
The development of the concept has taken 3 years, with Chef Marcus making several visits with his family. But he has a story of his own.
I was born in Ethiopia. I was born in a hut that is basically the size of 2 of these restaurant tables. I was fortunate enough and lucky enough to get adopted to Sweden, so I grew up in Scandinavia.
And now he's looking to pass on what he knows and learn from Bahamian chefs as well, all while creating one exhilarating culinary experience.
And Marcus, and up top, is here to deliver that for everyone.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Thanks, Kyle. Looks like quite the treat. Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.